Hi, this is C, your virtual grandma and mom. I'm here to talk to you today about identification. I did another video before, you know, worrying about ID. My father, who was a great teacher, a good architect, an excellent author, a very good urban planner, was also a functional alcoholic. And he threw me out of the house when I was 14 years old before I knew what alcoholism was, or that I should wait until the morning because I'd been living with my mother and I didn't know his habits. Who threw me out of the house when he was in a drunken state. So I left. It was the final straw because he had left me with my mother when I was 7. And then I was sent down to Texas when my mother couldn't take it anymore to live with him. So his alcoholism was, as far as I know, it was just dad. And when he said, you've got your, how do you word it? You've got your pink slip. I'm sitting there going, pink slip? Your walking papers. He kept using these euphemisms. He was so drunk, he didn't even, you know, he was talking to a 14-year-old kid. He had to spell it out for me. He's like, you don't have to tell me twice. Okay, you dump me at 7. I come to live with you. We have a conflict, and you throw me out of the house. You don't need to tell me twice. I'm not coming back. I didn't say that, but, you know, after I got over the initial pain, I'll do it myself. Back then, you could get a job without ID. So it didn't matter that I was 14. Put on some makeup, dress right, go to a job interview, get a job, and work it. Give them your social security number from memory. You didn't have to show a social security card. It's revenue. What if I got a digit wrong? If I got it wrong, it's still going to the IRS. So I don't get a tax refund because I put the wrong number in. Somebody else got my tax refund. I saved my life. Keep the money. I saved my life. Empowerment. There's something called an emancipated minor. It's on the books. Because used to be, you could get a job without ID. And then you could go to court with a history. If you wanted to. And as long as you weren't asking for any government assistance, nobody was going to ask you how old you were when you were standing at the register, checking people out of the grocery store. And back then, you could work a job full-time like that. And you could afford the rent. $65 a month, all bills paid. You can't do that now, can you? Well, anyway, ID is what we're talking about, not the Federal Reserve. Of course, this has to do with the Federal Reserve, but I'm not going to go into that complex and what they have to do with ID and everything in Homeland Security. It's not necessary. All you need to know is everything worked fine in the 1970s. There were plenty of people working. Not so many people on food stamps and housing. And as far as security goes, right? Oh, we don't want to give jobs to illegals. No problem. Could have done it back then, but we didn't because the economy was benefiting from illegals coming in. But if we really don't want illegals working here, all we have to do is curb their ability to send money out of the country. Easy peasy. Easy. Monitor that money going out of the country. Penalize that using the U.S. Postal Service in order to ship money orders. What companies, sanction companies that aren't keeping records of their customers and how much they're purchasing in money orders and where they live and work. ICE, INS, easy peasy. You don't need to be IDing Americans and making it impossible to become an emancipated minor and therefore having to become a part of the system of child protection. Or worse, maybe worse, because believe me, there are a lot of foster parents that shouldn't be foster parents. Worse, they end up on the street being trafficked instead of working a job at a grocery store or a Burger King or all those places that are hard to find people and keep them. Kids that come from households that were so bad that it's a breeze working a job compared to living at home. And guess what? They're learning to become independent, emancipated minors, and all they have to do is say, I've been working a job for the past year. You know, like if CPS came around or something. I've been working a job for the past year. Here's my income tax payments into the system, Social Security system. Here are my bills that got paid by me. I'm a responsible citizen. Don't touch me. I'm doing just fine. I don't need any adults in my life. I've had it up to here with adults, and I don't care if they're government meaning well, child protective services adults, or my parents, or some foster parent. I'm working my job and I'm doing just fine. And I'm doing it because I have to. Oh, I'm 2 years underage, 3 years underage, and I'm working. Well, where I come from, this is a step up in heaven. And it's not at the taxpayer's expense. As a matter of fact, I'm contributing to the tax-paying pool revenue. As a matter of fact, I'm paying rent to a landlord, and he pays property taxes. I'm paying for the police and the fire department. And you know what? I can't even vote, but I'm an emancipated minor. So, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Have a nice day. It was nice meeting ya. Empowerment. You think there aren't a bunch of throwaways? That's what they call them. Not runaways, throwaways. Where the parents can't deal with it anymore because the kid's starting to fight back. To the abuse. You think when they're throwing the kid out, they're gonna say, I know I'm drunk and everything, but I just remember don't leave the house without getting your birth certificate and your social security card, and here's some money to go get an ID card. Oh, and by the way, the government is shut down. The local state government is shut down the ID office, and you're not going to get an appointment for 6 months. So you can't work for 6 months. But get the fuck out of my house. What do you think that kid's going to do? They're going to come in contact with the underworld out on the street. Immediately, before CPS even has a chance, they're going to be gone. Gone. Yeah, you know what happens to them. And all because of these ID laws. These are American kids. They're not from Mexico. Everything worked just fine before, when you didn't have to show a social security card, an identification card proving your age. Just think of all the paperwork that's going to save business. And all you got to worry about is, does this kid seem, smart enough to do the job? Do they seem willing? Are they teachable? All those low-paying jobs they can't fill, because everybody's on public assistance and everything. They get filled. The kids who want a break. They need a break. And they don't need to be thrown into a system. They can work. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm talking to the right wing, you know what I mean? You got kids. You know what kind of work a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. If you got a farm, they're driving the car, the machinery and the truck and everything on the property. They're not supposed to do dangerous work, but they can, you know, sit in a tractor and they can operate a tractor. They can do anything, just about. And if they're earning money, they can roommate. You can't roommate and not support yourself. You're going to have to pay some way, even if it's with their friends, somehow. And what do you think that payment's going to be? Even if they're not underworld trafficked, literally on the street with the what are you going to do? You want to help your friend out, the little guy, but you got to trade something. What do you think it's going to be? Just guess. We're doing this to our own American children that are coming from abused families, drug-infected families. They themselves are not. Please, for God's sake, stop IDing everybody. And what about those people who are looking for work and they lose their ID is stolen and stuff? Or you're just disorganized kids, young people, kind of disorganized, and they leave their stuff, their ID card somewhere, and they can't remember where they left it, and and they're looking for work, and so they got to go get another one, but the driver's license office is not gonna see him for months. Stop. Just because you don't want illegals, you think that's the answer? So you're gonna hurt the kids? Is that really worth it? You're gonna hurt them more after they've come out of a family where they were a throwaway or a runaway because it was so bad? When they could do something, flip burgers, clean up a kitchen, mop floors at McDonald's. Please, stop IDing people to death. It's a good policy. I got an idea. Now here's the thing, right? So we got the unemployment office. Right away, the state can just let go of that. Right wing, you want to privatize everything? Let's privatize unemployment insurance. Insurance companies do handle unemployment. All they got to do is tweak the product. Tweak it up. And they'll be getting so many customers. And businesses can choose. And after your probationary period, like all benefits, right? Then you get to sign up for unemployment. Not right away. So then you don't have to fund the unemployment office anymore. And guess what? people who recently got out of jail or prison, and they want to like do good and do the right thing, and they want to work a job and stuff like that. They don't need their ID to do it. So the prison system doesn't have to. They're not doing it anyway, and it takes them twice as long to, if the community can get the ID faster than the prison system gets them their ID. They can get a job right away. And guess what? They're working a job. They got a chance. They got a chance at rehabilitating themselves and not flooding, not being forced back. So that's where they find them. Like if they break parole or something, you got parole, making sure they're behaving. You don't need all those people in parole because believe me, they don't want to go back to prison. Trust me. Okay? And you don't need all that. So you get rid of a lot of extra state funding there too. You get rid of the unemployment office. And those people just go to work for the insurance companies. They're going to be making a mint. And they're going to... Hey, Texas loves insurance companies. It's one of the industries Texas loves. And the insurance companies love Texas. And they're going to love Texas even more when they have a new product that's mandatory in the state. Everybody's got to have this unemployment insurance. And so you have a skeleton staff of people left on the unemployment office, and all they're doing is checking to make sure that once that a company's got some company signed up. That's it. They don't have to check the individual employees. Just that a company's got it. It's part of their benefits. That's it. So less paperwork for the employer, right? Easier on the kids who need it. And you can still handle the illegals by making it really difficult to send money out of the country, or minimizing the amount of money they can send out of the country. Excuse me. They'll get the message and they won't come here because they'll go home on their next paycheck when they realize they can't send it home. And you don't need to advertise it. And who's going to fill those jobs? All those kids that are spending your tax dollars being housed by the foster care system. Big kids doing the same jobs that the illegals are doing. Trust me, if they can't send money to their families, or it's like a trickle, because we got the right policies about how much people can send in an emergency per year, and we track that instead of tracking down every employee. Just think of all the paperwork it's going to save businesses. The kids' lives it's going to save. And all those, like, because of my idea about getting rid of the drug problem in the other video, right? The courts are going to be free. The pressure on the judicial system and the judicial vacancies are going to get solved. And a lot of those judges will easily be in family court instead, and can be, emancipating minors right and left. So for a while, you can keep some of those CPS workers, maybe going to local businesses and pressuring the kids to go in and get emancipated legally for a while, and kind of trickle them out of the system because they're not needed so much anymore. The whole thing comes together. Stop IDing Americans. Stop. You don't need to keep the illegals out. You don't need to. And you're hurting American kids that could do good on their own, and drug addicts out of prison that don't have idle time for months while they're waiting for the system, weeks and months, begging on the streets, right there where the drugs are, right in their face. No, they just go straight to work. That's it. Straight to work. Nose to the grindstone. Believe me, they don't want to be doing what they're doing. They don't. It's a lot of human suffering because of this IDing thing. Most of all, these young people that could be saving themselves. Stop it. Privatize the unemployment system. Reduce government. Give these kids a chance. I mentioned parole, right? So you got these guys coming out and they go, you don't have so much parole. You don't need it. You don't need to check up on them. There's a will on their part to work a job. I'm telling you. Been there. I've seen it. I've seen them finally get frustrated, break down, and go back out and start using, and I saw why. And I'm telling you, they want half a chance to do right. These halfway houses are no solution. The halfway houses need to be run by real nonprofit churches. And those guys, like Core Civic, believe me, they've got the money to hire the brains to figure out what else they're going to get into other than this that's going to make them money. They'll see society trending in a different direction. We could just give them a heads up that this is in the works. I don't know, a few months. And trust me, they'll be all over it. You want to make the world a better place. You're going to ban abortion, okay? Make life better for kids. This is going to make life better for kids. Stop IDing to get a job. Stop it.